Because my computer being absolute crap, I'm going to try and get this one done as quick as possible because it keeps freezing every time I'm trying to record. So we have got the new week of singles, and what better way to start than the big comeback from Mudvayne with Hurt People, Hurt People. The first new song since 2009, it's been a long time. Mudvayne have been made this return more recently, and it's nice to see the band back in action. Unfortunately, the song isn't very good. I feel like there's lacking the groove. The writing just feels very basic, and it just kind of feels like it's just heavy for being heavy, but it feels like it's missing a lot of depth that makes a Mudvayne song feel strong. I applaud them for being kind of back to the more aggressive sound that LD50 carried, but I can't really say that it's that good when that's pretty much the only major component that's really brought back. It's just the heaviness. Chad Gray's vocals are nice. I like his uncleans here, but yeah, this just was a bit disappointing. We got the new one by Nova Twins, Glory. This was the last single before the album came out. I reviewed that. I wasn't big on the album. I wasn't big on this song. I found this to probably be the weakest of the songs as well. Some electronic snippets and electronic components and some voice effects. I just found this one just to be kind of obnoxious. I'm not really a fan of it. Yeah, kind of not the best start, but luckily we're going into a good one now with Chat Pile and Hayden Pedigo with Radioactive Dreams. Chat Pile's doing this collab album with Hayden, and it's really interesting because the first song isn't really what we're used to by Chat Pile. This one kind of goes more into a shoegaze sort of sound, and I kind of like it, to be honest. It just gives this very dark, gritty, ambient aesthetic to it that's just generally beautiful. This is definitely one of my favourite songs of the week, but the only thing I'd say I wish they kind of didn't have was how drowned out the vocals are, because there's no way you can understand what the lyrics are unless you see them. I think the song's great, it just needed a bit better mixing on the vocals, but amazing song. Avatar's new song, Tonight We Must Be Warriors. Yeah, this one's great. Honestly, the Avatar singles we had beforehand, Captain Goat and In the Airwaves, have been good, but this is where I think the fun, true, best material is starting to seep out for the upcoming record, which comes out on Halloween night. Yeah, this is great. I love how versatile these singles feel, but this just has the Avatar DNA to a T for sure. It's silly, it just has some really fun riffs, really fun moments, and really fun vocals. Really good song. Razorlight dropped Sugar High, which I'll be honest, I actually didn't mind this one. I wouldn't say it's good though, I'd say it's just alright, but it's not too bad. I think they're kind of bringing more of that rock energy back, which is kind of nice. The chorus is cool, but I just don't really think the verse is that compelling compared, but it's certainly better than Planet Nowhere's content, I can say the least. Got the new one by a small band called DARLAH with the track 143. I've seen DARLAH support As Everything Unfolds on their tour last year, and I've honestly really enjoyed it. Danny Hicks is a pretty good underrated vocalist here, and it's nice to kind of see her go a bit more aggressive when it comes to the breakdowns on this. Just comes to the kind of little screamier segments. It's pretty nice. We haven't really had much material other than an EP in 2023, so it's nice to see more DARLAH content. This song just definitely sounds like an As Everything Unfolds track, Rose Bouquets, but I think it's got enough distinction and it makes it interesting. I quite like this one. The new one by STARSET, Shattered Dreams. This is a cover of Johnny Hate Jad's version. Second cover on this upcoming record, Silos, coming out 12th of September. It's better than Head Over Heels in my opinion. Head Over Heels is a good cover, but I find this just to become the weakest of the bunch of songs we had from this lineup for this new album, and Shattered Dreams being another cover, which is interesting to have two covers for this. Is the better one. I feel like this one has more of the kind of 80s classic sound, more than Head Over Heels, which kind of felt like a bit of a confused electronic rock pop sort of song. But I like this one because this also brings in some of Dustin's sound of Mannequin with the Sims. It definitely kind of feels like a song that's encoded with it. Plus, Shattered Dreams I feel just fits STARSET way more than Head Over Heels. So yeah, this one was actually a good cover. Soulfly dropped Storm the Gates. Soulfly have been kind of hit or miss with the later stuff. Totem was a decent listen, but this generally is stronger than anything we had on that record. I like this one a lot. This generally holds a candle to some of their classic stuff. The guitars, just Max Cavalier's energy is just absolutely high, and I just love to see how the band is coming back to create some fun, intricate, amazing bangers. So yeah, good Soulfly track. Dying Wish, Revenge and Carnage. I liked Dying Wish's last record, it was really good. The first single I got to listen to is this one. I didn't get to listen to the other one yet, but yeah, this one's pretty good. I feel like the weird mix of screams and cleans in the chorus is a bit odd, but minus that, the rest of the song is very enjoyable. Some great mid-tempo riffs that just keep this very harsh energy going. The verses are cool. The bridge just generally is one of the best bridges I've heard in a while from them. So some minor things I change, but as a whole it's a great song. Stellar Circuits, I See Your Spirit, a fun prog metal track with a very strong chorus, and the vocal effects might be a bit weird in the second verse, but the whole track is just absolutely cool. I like this. It's got this very kind of like, I suppose it's got more of an alt metal, prog metal vibe, and it just kind of reminds me of bands like Earthtone 9, mixing with a bit more of stuff like Haken, I guess, maybe Wheel. I don't know exactly how I feel, but Stellar Circuits, this new track's good. Saint Agnes, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Beast. I remember seeing Saint Agnes support Skindred. I remember the Bloodsuckers album I didn't get to review, but I thought that was decent. This track I just didn't care for, however. I feel like it's just a mess with just cramming many ideas into one, and it just doesn't work. Every instrumental just kind of goes from one thing, like you just kind of get the electronic sort of industrial sound, then you get some keys, then you just kind of get this weird little electronic pop segment. It just jumps one thing to another without really any proper kind of transition to it. It just feels weird. Some of it feels like a wargasm track, like a softer one, but lacking the energy they have. The breakdown they also put towards the end, electronic one, is a headache. Yeah, I did not like this song. Die Spitz, Punishers. Unfortunately, I wasn't really a big fan of this one either. It's not so much the song sounds awful, I just think it generally lacks anything memorable. The guitars feel basic, the songwriting's just kind of very beige. It is just kind of a very unfortunate bland song. Black Orchid Empire, Mirrorman, very underrated band, but I have listened to them for a bit. They've dropped 2 other singles that have been amazing, Angel Fire especially, but Mirrorman is just another amazing song. Really punchy hook, really good riffs, and it's nice to see that we're getting a really good record with this upcoming Black Orchid Empire release. But yeah, this kind of has the dark nature to a T. I like the fact that you kind of got this whole reflection, you get to see this whole creature in the mirror thing, and Mirrorman's just really cool. I love this song. The Sound of Animals Fighting, I'll talk about the 2 singles here. They dropped 2. Bangladesh, I'll go through first. Didn't really like this one. I think Anthony's vocals sound fine. I've always thought Anthony's a good vocalist, but what ruins the song is having Bowling he just sounds drunk, just going blood on my hands over the whole bit Anthony's singing. It just feels like you just got your obnoxious drunk friend just singing over you just to kind of get their little impression into it. I know Bowling is definitely a proper vocalist for the band, but why would this be a thing? It just sounds so odd, and it just made the song really annoying, and the song isn't that memorable to begin with, but yeah, this just didn't work. Why would you have someone loudly shouting the same thing over someone who's trying to get some words out? I don't even know what Anthony said, because it's just drowned out by this annoying singer, and I don't think Bowling's bad, why would you do that? And then we have, I think it's pronounced Chrysanthemum, might butcher that, but yeah, while it's not as bad as Bangladesh, it feels very like a nothing burger of a song. It just kind of, the only thing I really remember is the Julie part, and I don't really think that's great, so that's the only part that really stood out to me. I just think this is a very bland thing. Honestly, 2 for 2, these singles have been pretty rough, so that's unfortunate, but I'm still got my hope up for the record. Miss May I Pray for Silence. This reeks of just kind of the metalcore, but the good kind of metalcore that a lot of bands sort of shift away from and kind of feel a bit formulaic. I like this one. I think the uncleans are great, the chorus is fun, the riffs just absolutely go mental. Just standard metalcore, I think, does the job well. Combichrist, Rise, it's decent, and I do like the whole verses, but the chorus is kind of bland. I just don't think it has a very punchy sound to what is the whole instrumental of it. I think the instrumental's fine, it's nothing crazy. I just think for Combichrist they've done a lot better, but it's still okay. You got Igorrr, Headbutt. This is a clusterfuck of so many different genres, and I feel like that's Igorr's charm, but this one especially just really was good. I love how you get some classical moments, you kind of get some electronic moments, you get some prog metal moments, get a bit of everything, and this one is just an absolute, yeah, as I say, clusterfuck with so many good ideas. The scream distortion kills brain cells in my brain, but I'd happily let it do it again for the whole song, and the keys on this are just a very nice touch. I think this song, literally, the keys just on this song sounds like what the title is, Headbutt. Someone's headbutting the keys. That's why it sounds like Muse, Butterflies and Hurricanes, or better yet, Dark Shines. Annie's okay, my effigy. It's Annie's okay. That's how I'd rate the song, it's just okay. It's something that I've heard so many times from other bands. It's just kind of a metalcore, post-hardcore standard. It's whatever. I mean, it doesn't sound bad, so I wouldn't say it's anything too go awful, but I just really wish that they kind of did something a little stronger than this. Heart of a Coward, Paradise. It's heavy, it's got some nice vicious ideas. I kind of prefer it to the previous record by sound, so hopefully we get more of that. Caskets, Closure. Yeah, Caskets haven't really been impressing me lately. Reflections was kind of alright. And these singles have just been fine. It just, again, I feel like Caskets have lost the momentum of where their best material lies. I feel like they had a strong start and slowly sieved down, I suppose. Closure probably is the weirdest sounding song. The drumming and guitar combo you get in the chorus just makes it feel off and just kind of lacking on like a creative flow to make it feel natural. It just feels very unnatural. The chorus doesn't even sound that great either. It's definitely not one of their best ones, and the electronic drum beat you get at the opening just is another reason why I think either the drumming or just the kind of effects on it just doesn't really work. I think out of the three singles is my least favourite one, but at least it's not sounding like Dayseeker, I suppose, which was an issue I had with the later stuff on this record. But yeah, unfortunately I didn't really like this Casket song. Valiant Hearts, Venusian Fires. I love the fact this kind of gives a symphonic kind of medieval, I suppose, sound, and it's really interesting because once it builds up the sound, it goes straight into kind of the classic fun charm of this band. I suppose they fall under what's labelled as like post-hardcore and swancore, which is a name given to Will Swan because of the way he can play a certain sound. I don't really know exactly it, but I just know there's a label of swancore when I checked. It's really cool, to be honest. I feel like they've shifted their sound dramatically from all their previous stuff, and Yonder is kind of an example of they can take the sound of Odyssey, but I feel like it kind of drifted into one of their weaker albums. Yonder's still enjoyable enough, but this generally has more just kind of more standard ground to settle to being a stronger, livelier, just overall more unique record, and I'm all for it. I'm looking forward to this new album just from this song alone. And that's it, but we do have one final track to talk about. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because when it comes to track of the week, I gotta pick either if it's from an album that I've really enjoyed that came out this week, or if it's the single, and I wanted to give it to ILO, but I couldn't settle on a song to pick entirely because of how much, while I do really enjoy the record, I don't know which song in particular stood out to me. I love the experience as a whole, but it's hard to pinpoint a specific song, so I thought I'll let ILO kind of take a rest. I'll pick a track of the week for it if it gets in the top 3 albums at the end of the year, because I did that last year with Opeth, with Knocked Loose and Vola all having a track of the week, just to kind of celebrate the 3 top albums of the year. But we'll have to see. But I've decided the track of the week is the new Don BROCO track, Hype Man. This one probably isn't as well liked as Cellophane, but if anything I kind of prefer it. The chorus just reminds me of kind of this classic Priorities sort of vocal, even a little bit of technology as well, but I love how heavy this new direction is. The sound generally has more interesting components than Amazing Things, which I like Amazing Things. It's my favourite album from Don BROCO at the moment, but there's probably is more promising, to be honest. I like the fact there's kind of less of that silly meme kind of appeal. I mean, Hype Man still is a bit weird of a song, obviously that's still kind of in the meme territory, but I feel like there's a bit less of the tongue-in-cheek that Amazing Things had, and just kind of a focus onto Don BROCO just really wanted to do the best they wanted to do, and I like this one a lot. Some great ideas, some great uncleans. I love how aggressive Don BROCO are going, and yeah, love it. I'm curious to see what this album turns into, but that's all the tracks. Hope you enjoy, thanks so much for watching, and see you next video.